Today we have a Tiny Desk Contest winner, a two-time Grammy winner for contemporary blues, one of the most energetic and charismatic performers I've ever seen, and an artist who has a new album out called Have You Lost Your Mind Yet? Fantastic Negrito, hi.
Greetings, how is everyone in Kentucky?
You know what we're all about here with the First Cut. We want to ask you some questions about firsts in your life. Are you ready?
I have a lot of firsts.
Well, what was the first song you learned on an instrument? Do you remember?
That's interesting. I don't think I still haven't learned any. I mean, in a weird way, I think I started just playing music. It was very unorthodox. I don't know if I was interested in songs as much as I was interested in writing them. Maybe it was Happy Birthday, which I think is a very important song.
That would be a good start. That's one you can use your entire life, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What was the first record you fell in love with?
And the records are like my lovers. They are many and scattered. So a record that kind of blew my mind was Not Just Knee Deep by Parliament Funkadelic. I thought it was just incredible, the sounds that were coming out of that 45-inch record player. It's one of the records I remember from my youth.
Do you remember the first song you wrote that you were proud enough to record?
As Fantastic Negrito, the first song I wrote that I was proud of was called Night Has Turned Today. Night Has Turned Today. I thought, yeah, this feels like Fantastic Negrito because it was a long road in getting to Fantastic Negrito.
Yeah, that was kind of after a time where you had to reinvent yourself, really.
Yeah, I mean, I quit music, and it's okay to quit and put it down, especially if you have nothing to say. And I quit music for 5 years, and I sold all of my gear. I thought I'd never play again. But then when Night Has Turned Today came into my mind, I thought, well, I can write that. That makes sense to me. Night Has Turned Today, especially for a middle-aged guy.
Mm-hmm. Do I remember reading that some of the inspiration to start playing again was because you were playing for your child again?
Yes, a little kid. He was a little kid. He was a little baby, and I didn't mean to play for him. He was in a bad mood, and there was one guitar underneath the couch that was really cheap, and nobody wanted to buy it because I sold all my guitars and everything that I owned in order to go into the marijuana cultivation business, which was very lucrative and inspiring at the time. And I just thought, well, hell, I don't know, Daddy Face doesn't work, like nothing was working. And I picked it up and I played a G major and it changed my life. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so children to this day, they're still my greatest teachers. I mean, they're the teachers. I'm just sitting here like a big dummy, soaking up all their purity and their wisdom.
So I imagine you've had more time to spend with your children during COVID and some of the isolation we're all experiencing.
Absolutely. It's been a chance to reboot, refresh, deep breath, get your head together, talk to your kids, try to stay married for some people. Yeah. Try to really communicate and try to get in touch with this. For me right now, it's getting in touch with this this visceral experience of music and smashing more boundaries and getting my kids involved.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of times when love hasn't gone that well, can you remember the first heartache song you connected with?
Well, heartache. Heartache is a deep and profitable business now, isn't it?
For songwriters, yes, definitely.
Heartache. I ran away when I was 12. I'm kind of disconnected. I was in a family of 14 kids. I was the 8th. So I'm real disconnected from that stuff, but maybe I'm like heartache. Yeah, this is a good one. Like I remember experiencing heartache from a girl once, and I didn't like it. I'm a bit of an emotional coward. I don't know, heartache.
Is there a record you're listening to now that you love?
I really love listening to Robert Johnson and Nina Simone and Skip James, Devil Got My Woman. I kind of just repeat. I mean, when I did Have You Lost Your Mind, I was like, yeah, Stevie Wonder. Oh, yeah, Stevie Wonder. Queen. Oh, yeah, Queen. Like that era. I love the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like the level, the mark was just so high for music. I mean, in the 70s, it's like, how do you compare with that era? It's just one up Miles Davis, man. David Bowie, like I said, Queen, Stevie, everybody was creating at such a high level. I think there's artists now that I'll listen to. I always throw out Kendrick Lamar. I mean, he's a rapper. I don't usually like listen to a bunch of rap music, but there's something about him as an artist. I tend to like artists more than, I love artists. Like, oh my God, I love this one. I just feel like this guy just is, every time he gets in the studio, you can tell that he's trying to be great, which is, it's different from like trying to be famous, because we live in an era now where people are trying to be famous. How many likes do I have? How many followers do I have? Which is really, has nothing to do with music. I mean, you can buy those. You can buy it. So I look at like as this guy's like, you can just feel it. And I love that when, you can feel stuff from artists. I think Larkin Poe, they make some good records. Sturgill Simpson.
It's a Kentucky boy.
Yeah, he's great. I love Sturgill. I've actually toured with him, and I always like where he's at as an artist. I'm all over the place, which I'm sure is strange for people. But
no, I think true music lovers have very eclectic taste in music. It's more about listening for what's great and catches your ear, the specific genre.
Yeah, and really what captures your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And your imagination. And it's interesting music. I mean, being back into it, it's just, wow. It's a blessing and an honor to contribute and serve the people of the world with music.
Can you think of a particular song that lifts you up or gives you hope, kind of a go-to song?
Why don't I just say something musical, like Songs in the Key of Life? That's a good one when you're not feeling that great. Let me throw on Songs of the Key of Life to kind of remind myself that I suck, That's a good one,
It's like one of the best albums of all time.
I mean, yeah, I like to dance with those spirits. Anything by Fela. Fela is someone, he's like one of my go-to listen for any mood. John Prine.
Mm-hmm.
What a storyteller. What a lyricist.
He was a real observer of life, wasn't he? Humanity. Yeah.
He's amazing. So yeah, I don't know, like whatever's there. If my kid is listening to some really horrible kind of genocidal murder rap music, then I'll go, and there's a lot of that out there. It's actually kind of disappointing. I won't name any artist names, but then I'll go to like this music with like all this integrity and, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Put on Tribe Called Quest or something like that. Like, no, there's another side to music. It's not all these songs about death and drugs and money and all this stuff. I mean, as a parent, that's what I'm dealing with during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So my go-to stuff is always, it could be John Prine, it could be Miles Davis, it could be Songs of the Key of Life, it could be Kendrick Lamar, I just played Margot Price's album for my kids. I like to just, because we were talking on Twitter, I'm like, let me listen to her album. I thought it was a good album.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back just a little bit. Can you think of the first artist you may have heard on the radio or one of those early albums you listened to? You've mentioned a number of artists that you appreciate, but can you remember that first artist that you idolized that was so
absolutely.
inspirational?
Absolutely, and that was Prince's Dirty Mind album. Because I was growing up at that time in some pretty tough neighborhoods, and I was always kind of a bit of an outcast. And I remember when I saw that album, and I heard the lyrics, and there was a guy, he was black like me, is wearing like, you know, garter belts and bikini briefs. And I thought that was interesting. And he had like really pretty girlfriends. So I thought this guy's interesting. You know, this is pretty cool. So I think I got really enamored with him at a young age. I really liked his early albums. I kind of got lost in the 90s, you know, but I mean, those really early albums like Dirty Mind really influenced me as a artist and as a person. I thought it was like, it's okay, you know, to be different and be in the hood. I was like, if that brother can do it, I can do it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I can see some of his influence in your performance as well, because when I see you live, you give 100% plus in your energy and your performances, just like Prince did.
Well, I try to. I mean, I'm not, if I'm anything like Prince, I'm like Prince without the genius. You know, it's like, that's me. I'm like Sly without all that funk. I'm like Stevie Wonder without the songs, you know? That's me. Yeah, I mean, I'll take all of that. I mean, those are the people, him, David Bowie. I mean, these are the people that, I'm just an old guy and I like really great stuff that just, you can put it on in any decade, in any century, in any time, in any country, and it reaches all of us. That's my goal as a musician. Mm-hmm. And to break out of this confinement, you know, society, and especially the gatekeepers of the music business, you know, they sit in their, you know, their ivory towers with their repressed fantasies of how, you know, we men, women, black, white, whatever, Asian, how we should fit into their obsession with material wealth. I think as an artist, that's it's a lifelong battle.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were talking about some of the negative aspects of social media, but really some of the positive ones too, though, is that the technology surrounding that has made getting your music out there accessible to anyone.
Well, it's a slippery slope, and I'm not afraid of slippery slopes, so let's dive right in. Well, I think, you know, social media is like your spouse. It's incredible, the best thing ever. It's the greatest challenge ever. So it's kind of a tool. It's kind of a weapon. It's very, 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 very dangerous. And it can become extremely nefarious, as we've seen and as we see every day. I mean, we watch this country like change completely. Like we sound, America today, like we sound like a country that 25 years ago, we would have invaded with military force to help preserve their democracy. So let me just say that about social media. But yes, you know, hey, 6 years ago, I was playing on the streets and people got to know me through social media. I'm not a pop star. I'm not a rapper, not a hip hop artist. I'm not a pretty white girl like singing. I'm not any of these things, but it gives, you know, people like me a little bit of access. So it's like I said, it's like your spouse. You love her or you love her or it or whatever it is, but then you're like, damn, ooh, I could kill them. So it's right. I mean, that's how I view it. It's you know, it's the full spectrum of humanity. Humanity, we're all these things too, right? Aren't we excellent? Isn't America excellent and amazing? And hey, I tell people all the time, because I have an international fan base, and it's like, hey, you know what? America has all these flaws. Oh my God, all these terrible things. But Fantastic Negrito could only happen in America. Where could that happen? They would tell me to go get a job. You know, if I was in Morocco or Japan, you know, some middle-aged guy with non-genre specific music that, you know, wears jackets like this. I mean, it doesn't, only in America. So it's a very long, strange answer to your question, but.
No, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, I feel the same way in a lot of ways. If you're using social media in a way where you're actively seeking out new things and new ideas and new opinions, that's great. But if you're not, and you just rely on the algorithms involved to keep an eye on everything that you're looking at or listening to and just finding more of the same for you. So a good example, the news that you like, you know, you
Yeah.
only get one perspective.
Right.
From one
well,
news
is it even
source.
News though? I think news is gone. I haven't seen news since the 80s. News used to be really boring, remember? Like there was a car crash.
Just the facts, right?
Yeah, Iraq bombed Egypt. You know, it's like, it's snowing in Ohio. Now it's like, is it really snowing? I mean, white stuff is coming down, but it looks a lot like cocaine to me. I don't know. let's go out there and sniff a little. I don't know. It's like, it's really, that's what I mean. It's very kind of scary. It's like music, you know, it's, I have a kid and it's like, okay, this is what's trending. And, you know, everybody's like, I got a gun and, you know, I got money and, you know, fuck you and all this. And I'm sure, you know, that's, as a parent, it's terrifying. Like this is, they're telling you that this is, you know, acceptable. And they're telling you that it's good. So, I mean, 10, 15 years ago, could we have predicted this? When you look, take a look around, this is,
well, 10 or 15 years ago, it was just a wonderful new way to connect with friends.
Right.
And communicate, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now it's a platform for anybody. Doesn't matter, you don't have to, you've never read anything, you never studied anything, it's just your opinion. And if you say it over and over again, people start to believe it. And I could think it's the same with music. If you play like certain music over and over again, especially kids, they just take it in like, yes, feed my brain, you know, garbage, which makes, you know, corporations very rich and damages the integrity of our youth and our society. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, keep asking.
Well, we're hopeful for the day when you can come back to Louisville and sit in the studio and play for Louisville listeners live.
Well, I love Louisville. Let me give a shout out to Dave Gilbert, one of my friends in Louisville.
Well, we've really been enjoying Have You Lost Your Mind Yet, playing songs from that. And I see you in your studio there. And I think you mentioned at the beginning of the conversation that you're writing another album?
3 of them.
3?
Yes.
I guess having all the time off the road has made a lot of artists rather prolific.
Yeah, and I'm collaborating a lot, and I've got a lot of really cool collaborations.
Is that all you can tell us?
Oh, they're too cool, I can't say. They're unbelievably cool. Like, what? You made a song with them?
Well, great. Well, we'll look forward to the new music. Thanks for spending some time with me.
Okay, thanks so much.
Fantastic Negrito.
Bye-bye.